I'll just start talking.
All right.
No way.
3, 2, 1. We're live.
We're live.
Live.
Okay, so let's get back on the topic we were talking about for 2017. We're going to recap the best movies of 2017 and the top 5 worst movies of 2017.
Because our opinions matter.
Correct. So I made a
Hear
list
that, world?
after talking about, let's see, we discussed this earlier. We always discuss this after we watch movies. So I made a list of the top 10 best movies I thought from 2017 that we would probably agree with. And I started with number 10. And we're just going to go down from the 10 to 1. And then from the top 5 worst movies to the top one for, I guess, just top 5 worst movies.
And then I went in and completely blew that list up.
Yeah.
Are these in particular order or?
No particular order. These are just kind of my biased opinion on what I thought were the best 10 movies from kind of just going off of what we thought from the year. Now, you guys might not agree with the list. Some people might agree with it. Most people probably don't, but this is what I thought were the top 10
Well,
best.
let's just clear the air right now. This white males list of best movies of 2017. We're white males, ladies and gentlemen. So
Is that Logan Lucky, number 3?
Number 3 is just regular.
Oh, just Logan.
Yeah, so
Okay.
let's
I
go
forgot.
from the top down.
all
So
right, let's just get into it.
I think for number 10, I put down Wind River, which I thought was a really good movie with Jeremy Renner and which Olsen?
Elizabeth Olsen?
Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen. The movie was really good, had a good storyline, good plot. It was a little dry at times, but for the most part, for a murder mystery movie, I thought it was good. It was very suspenseful, and
Didn't Elizabeth Olsen show her plots in that?
she did.
Sure ass, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, just her ass?
Yeah, and
Okay.
then I can't remember the actor.
Give that a 10 on the
name.
ass watch list.
2.
But the guy who played in The Punisher, he made a surprise appearance in the movie at the end, which,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert, yeah.
Yeah, for us who haven't seen it.
Yeah, so it was a good movie. I would recommend it if anyone has not seen it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a little slow, but the ending was, the payoff was good. Like, I hate when a movie's slow and then the ending's like whatever, and you feel like it was a waste. But
Yeah.
if it's slow and there's a good payoff, I'm like, okay, that was good.
I agree.
So I liked it.
Yeah, like Schindler's List.
Yeah, too much shit for me. Too much shit in the tunnels.
Right, exactly. All right, so going on to the next movie, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was my number 9 of 2017, and honestly, I liked the movie, but I still think that the first one was better in my opinion. It was a good movie. It was a good lead off from the second movie or the first movie, but I wasn't impressed as I thought I was going to be. I guess they overhyped it in my opinion a little bit, but overall, I still gave it like an 8 out of 10. It was still a good movie.
It reminded me of Stranger Things between season 1 and 2, where like season 1 had a better story, but I think season 2 in Guardians 2 had better like character development, where like the comedy was way better. It was like it seemed more polished between all the different characters. So I didn't hate it. I understand it was necessary for the development of Star-Lord, like showing his father and all that. But I don't know. I still think I like the first one better too.
It just wasn't what I was expecting, I guess. Not that I knew what I was expecting, but I mean, they needed Star-Lord character development, but I don't know, where they took that whole plot line with Ego. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting it. Not that I didn't
Yeah, it was weird. 'Cause
not like it, but it was just like you just spent a lot of time on like this stuff, and it's just like I would have loved to have seen just more of the galaxy, you know? Like that's what I think of. Like that's what I loved about the first one, and the prison planet breaking out and getting all the shenanigans and stuff. And this one was like so heavily focused on Ego's world and stuff.
Yeah, I agree that they went, I think, down a rat hole or like the weeds way too much with
Yeah.
that, which I think kind of killed the movie a little.
And then Nebula coming in to crash course kill what's her face, Gamora. And
Yeah, the ego thing, the scale felt weird because, like, yeah, you think of Guardians, like you said, it's like a galactic thing, it's like a huge thing, but it's like they were isolated to Ego's planet or Ego himself or whatever. But it felt like they were trying to make it feel big scale because he's like he's a planet, he's devouring other planets.
Yeah.
But it's like it just felt isolated in this like small little story. I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
It wasn't bad though. Like like I said, the comedy was good. It felt polished, like it was standard Marvel comedy.
Great graphics, par for the course for
CGI
that.
was good, yeah.
Definitely a movie I would.
The intro is great. The opener.
Yeah.
The
Mr.
intro
Blue
was
Sky.
good. Yeah, that was good.
That was great.
Definitely a movie I would recommend. Yeah, I thought it was a great movie. Wasn't yeah?
It's on Netflix right now.
Yeah, it's on Netflix right now. Number 8, which I'm not sure if a lot of people are going to agree with this, but I hope you guys do, and I hope others do as well, is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I overall thought the movie, as the plot, was not the best, and I'm sure we're going to have a huge opinion on this because there's so many people who are huge Star Wars fans. But I thought the overall like CGI and the graphics were amazing, and it really didn't hit me until I left the movie theater. And after we talked about it, and probably until I got home and sat down and really thought about it, it's like, man, they really blew this movie. Like, they could have made it so much better. But at the same time, it was kind of like a filler movie. And I guess, what was the director's name?
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson. He has a big plan for the movie, and nobody knows what it is. So it's kind of... It's easy to judge and say he did a bad job until the next movie comes out.
But didn't they take episode 9 away from him and give it to JJ?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know. It's like they think the franchise is too big to fail, but it's like we've seen it fail before, you know,
Right.
with episode 1 through 3. But yeah, I don't know. It just the story wasn't terrible overall. I actually really like Kylo Ren's development overall. Like I like Adam Driver. I think he's good.
I do agree. I think
But yeah, the CGI I thought it was shot great. Like the throne room scene where they're fighting and like the red backdrop is on fire and it's like it's cutting away as it's burning and you're seeing the space behind them as they're fighting. Like that was sick.
but what was the deal with his tits?
I don't know.
He's trying to bulk up, man.
But
Yeah.
it was like an unnatural bulk. It was like a bulk in his like
I don't know if you guys have been seeing
where there's
it,
not
torso.
usually bulk.
but on
his
like on
rib,
Twitter
like-
right now and like social media, like people are dressing up like Kylo Ren and like they're doing like
And you're right. I know it's a running joke. I'm not saying
Yeah.
anything new here because I've seen plenty of shit on Reddit and the internet, like making
it's
fun of
pretty
the
good
same
though.
thing.
Like seeing people in sweatpants and dressing up like them, and like
Right.
I forget what the hashtag was they used to describe it or whatever, but it was pretty good. I'm sure people know what I'm talking about.
But
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you know with Star Wars and a lot of movies we watch, the good thing about Star Wars is they never show too much in the trailer like most movies. I think me and Sam and you've talked, or I'm sorry, Kevin and Greg have talked about this
God
before.
damn it.
Is that nowadays in trailers they release so much you like pretty much already feel like you've watched the entire movie through the trailer. With Star Wars they give you like teasers, which was good, and I feel like with Star Wars the hype was so big because it is Star Wars, and I think after Rogue One a lot of people were really happy with what happened and they felt like they were going to go in the right direction with this movie, and obviously they didn't, you know.
I've only seen it once. I definitely want to see it again because I hear the second viewing is much better. Because like the first viewings for me, it's always even, especially with a film like this where there's so much going on, like the action scenes. It's like once you get the story and digest it, you watch it through the second time. You're not trying to pay attention to the story because you kind of already know what the story is. You're like you can pick up all the small little stuff on the screen that you don't notice the first time watching it. So I definitely wouldn't mind watching it again. I still think it's a good movie. I don't think it's a bad movie, but I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan either, so if I was, maybe I would dislike it a lot more.
Yeah, that's the thing is I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan, never have been. So like I don't take some of this stuff to heart that some people do because I was talking to a diehard Star Wars fan. They told me they walked out of
They
it.
wouldn't kill herself.
No, they hated it so much they walked out.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually had a friend who got up, him and his brother got
Wow, I
up
can't
and
imagine
left
that.
the movie theater halfway through the movie because they were so disappointed. 'Cause
Right.
they were such hardcore Star Wars fans. Which,
But I agree. I think this was one, and I was mentioning this to Randy. Is like I think this deserves a second viewing. I mean, I'm obviously gonna give it a second viewing, but I'm not really worried. But what worries me is that on my second viewing is like I'm gonna find things to like chop up even more,
Hate it
and
even
like
more.
you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, come on, dude. Like that titty milk squeeze. It was just like.
I thought it was hilarious.
I
I thought it was
too.
hilarious too, but it
remember
was
us
like,
laughing in the
but
movie
but
theater.
was, and I get it. Like I hope that they did that for the comedic effect, but it was just like, you know, but it does, it harkens back, doesn't it, to like the original trilogy when like I forgot who was it, Luke again, like early on when he was drinking like alien milk.
Yeah, it was blue. This one was
Yeah,
green though.
yeah.
Was it Banther milk or
Was it
Banther?
Bantha milk?
Something like that. Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of the scene on Hoth. I don't remember. Is that Return of the Jedi? I don't remember. One of the
Yeah,
first,
it
between
is.
4
That
through
is. I'm
6,
pretty
but
sure that's what it is.
where he's like scavenging on that ice planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that.
Well, the good thing
cuts
about
that
the
thing
good thing about
open.
rewatching it twice, you know, because I looked up a lot of the stuff after the movie because I was so intrigued by all the stuff that happened. Was there's so many Easter eggs? I mean, there must have been 50 to 60 Easter eggs I didn't even know about in the movie. Maybe there's less than that. I'm just kind of speculating.
Well, and then the whole, like, because my parents saw it recently. I was talking to my mom about it, and she was talking about the casino scene. I was like, yeah, that felt so shoehorned in. Like,
it did.
Well, and I was trying to. It actually made me think about other Disney movies because you have to remember it's a Disney movie.
Yeah,
You
now it's a Disney
Well, like
property.
Pocahontas, you know how they always have those like underlying themes of like, you know, protect nature and like,
Yeah.
you know, that type of
Yeah.
stuff. It totally reminds me of that. It's like the more I think about that, the less it disturbs me. Like the less it pisses me off that they shoehorn that in there because it is Disney. They're gonna do stuff like that.
Try to slip in some of their morals,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, they made a point of saying like, oh, you know, it's a casino planet, but it's a real nice casino planet only for weapons traders.
Yeah, only people who sell weapons
Take away
to the
being,
First Order.
yeah, and they well, you know, and it showed. It's like they're selling weapons to the First Order and the rebels.
which
so
is, I'm sure, what goes on in our lives.
right,
Yeah,
but it's like,
the
you
black
know,
market.
all I'm saying is personally, it's like keep your BS politics out of fantasy movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I thought the movie was not the worst movie I've ever seen by Star Wars by any means, but yeah, it was a kind of disappointing. But I still thought it was a good movie overall. I think there's room for improvement, and I really hope with the movies coming out in 2018, if it still comes out with.
I mean, yeah, I still plan on seeing the next one. It's not like it deterred me from seeing that. you
Yeah.
know?
I'm just hanging in there for the post Skywalker Star Wars.
Pretty much.
Yeah, hopefully they can wrap up the Skywalker saga with a nice little bow and make everybody happy, but
Yeah.
that's...
I mean, before we
Wishful
go off this
thinking.
movie, I think it was funny that Mark Hamill came out and actually talked about how this wasn't my Luke Skywalker, and he was kind of like a little bit of backlash towards Ryan Johnson and
Oh, yeah.
Disney.
I saw a couple of interviews with him recently. He's you can tell he's very torn because he likes the limelight. He likes being back in it. He likes, you know, being Luke Skywalker, but he doesn't like the direction that his character's being forced in. You can tell every interview he's ever had, he's always like talking about Force Awakens. Like, yeah, I was reading the script and I kept hearing about my name and I kept hearing about my name. Then I finally get to the last page and oh, there I am right at the end, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's not happy with the way that they're doing it.
No.
He's happy to be back and like I said, the limelight again.
Well, I agree with them. I don't like the direction they took Luke Skywalker either.
I don't either. I think it was
So-
the wrong way, but you know what? The funny
Let's
thing,
not even talk about Princess Leia, please.
No, we're not going to even get into that. That was just. And then they had 3 times in the movie to kill her off, and they just didn't, you know, which was just disappointing.
Right. No, then out left field, like Laura Dern takes the one for the team.
It's
and
just
like-
disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like, just let the character die off. No disrespect to her or her character, but to me, it's disrespectful to keep trying to put her in the story. It's like you're gonna hire an actress, put a CGI mask on her, and then give her, you know, it's like just let it lay.
Right, it's like a Michael Jackson hologram.
Yeah. Didn't they hire her
Yeah, pretty
sister
much.
to play her part and they just CGI over, or
Was it her sister? I don't know.
I don't know. I thought I heard it.
Maybe her daughter. I think I heard something like that, or
Her
somebody
daughter's in the
closer.
movie.
Yeah.
Is,
So maybe-
is she?
Yeah, she's like one of the blonde people on the ground in her command center.
Got it.
She's the Asian new love interest for what's his name?
Well, actually, I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you reminded me. So the other thought I had about Star Wars, we'll probably wrap up Star Wars here soon, but they have the new Asian lead, and I'm not racist against Asians at all, but they had the new Asian lead, and they had that storyline with her and her sister. I guess her sister was on the bomber.
Yeah,
She
she was
like
the bomber.
sacrificed herself to make sure that the bomber went through. But I think these movies, they're going to start appealing more to Chinese markets because the movie going market in China is like blowing up. It's like huge. So I think they're going to start tailoring to it if that's not what they're doing already.
That makes sense.
Dude, they have it's ever since I want to say like like Transformers 1. It's like, yeah, like you have U.S. filmmakers that will kowtow to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, take a look at Doctor Strange, how much they chopped around, like to make sure that they didn't offend anybody, to make sure they could play that in that market. It's a huge market, you know.
It was.
You know, people will censor their movies or chop them up for the Chinese market, and I don't blame them. It's a huge market.
Yeah.
Yep. So to wrap up Star Wars, I think we all agree that the movie could have been better done. So, but I still thought it was a good movie.
I didn't lose. Yeah, I'm not gonna hate it to the day I die, but it's like, yeah, it could have been better.
I look forward to seeing it again. So
Yeah. So do I.
it's not like I hated it.
All right. So number 7, I put down It because I really thought I'm not a big horror movie guy because I feel like horror movies have been done 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways, and there's only so many ways you can do a horror movie. But I grew up with it. I think we all did, right? And this was the scariest movie when I was a kid. I hate clowns, and I think clowns are just one of the most. Just when you're a kid, I think they're just terrifying. And I was kind of skeptical at first because I really didn't want them to redo it because I thought it was such a good classic movie because they want to reboot every movie nowadays. But I was blown away, man. I thought it was just amazing, and I'm really excited to see the second movie. I thought the plot was good. I think they stayed true to the characters. And honestly, I thought the clown was actually scarier than the original one with I can't remember the original guy that played the character.
Tim Curry.
Yeah, Tim Curry.
Yeah, it's really weird seeing just like the advance and I guess technology as well, but the technology and like the techniques they use, because I mean, yeah, that it was scary back then, but if you look at it now, like it looks so dated, and like other than Tim Curry's character and like how he looks,
And his
the tone isn't
scenes.
very dark, and like, you know, it was a made for TV movie, but like just comparing it to this, it's like it's so much more dark, and like the tone of it just so much more dark.
You know, yeah, man, because they were it was like they were mixing in like, you know, like Stand By Me, and then with their, you know, it was like just kids growing up, and then they had their, you know, interactions with it, and but those were, you know, as like dated as it is, I still love, if you go back and you'll see like in the music that starts playing when it starts showing up, and obviously I didn't, you know, like, what was it, Richie in the basement with the werewolf, like that was like one of the encounters with it that was just like but then it was like, you know, but then like the shower scene, I remember being a kid, the shower scene wigged me out, like the kid in the shower and the girl like Beverly, you know, with the blood in the sink, and the classic one was like, you know, just crazy scenes. I mean, obviously that ending got really fucking weird, but no, I felt like with this new one they did more with less, in a sense of like, I don't know, man, like you don't have to pack a horror movie with a bunch of jump scares. It's like, I love just a creepy movie. If you can keep the creep factor up, I felt like they did a good job keeping it up.
That makes it scary alone.
It does.
Right.
I think another good thing was before they even actually, I guess, produced the movie and pretty much directed the cast, they let Stephen King actually get in there and actually read the script and make sure he had like approval off, because I mean, it is his movie, it is his book. Which was really good, because when he saw it, he was blown away by it, and he knew it was going to be good. So, I mean, that was a good thing, in my opinion, because they could have just did it without him, right?
But yeah, hey, look, he also blessed the Dark Tower, so
Yeah.
let's not give Stephen King too much.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that. That it was kind of, we'll get to that movie later. But yeah, overall, it was great.
You have not forgotten the face of your fathers.
I'm just glad they broke it out into 2 parts. I really thought they were going to try to smash this movie into like 3 hours into a 2-part like movie, and I'm glad they broke it out into 2 movies so it can kind of you know, lead off to where it's another good 2-hour movie that breaks off the second part of the movie.
And one more thing too is just like, okay, the original was a made-for-TV movie. This was made for. This is a movie, so it's like the production quality alone upped, and then the actor, what was his name?
Skarsgård.
Bill.
I think it was Bill.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic in the role. When he first started talking to what is it? Was it Billy, Jimmy? What's the kid who gets his, you know, when he's talking in the sewer?
all their names. I did like how
You
he
mean
played
Georgie, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I
Actually,
was
dude,
not
that-
expecting the voice to be like that, but it was like creepy in its own way.
Because clowns are supposed to be kind of like
Whimsy,
Yeah.
like kind of, yeah, and like I don't know, yeah. I guess the inflections in the voice, like the voice that he was using, his like voice choice was like,
I thought overall.
because he'd be like all like kind of raspy, and then like when he get pissed, he get all deep and like.
yeah. But then he'd bring it up, Poppy.
Yeah, I thought that the Georgie scene at the beginning was probably one of the coolest scenes
That was
because,
brutal.
dude, when you're a kid, they went to a spot when he grabbed his hand like he was about to bite his arm off.
Yeah,
They went- they-
Tim Curry with the teeth.
Yeah, and then they went dark, and then they just made a noise, and like it went away, and then you just saw the police. This one, they actually show him really biting off his arm, which was insane. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that at all, which I
Right.
thought that part was kind of.
It set the tone for the whole rest of the movie.
Yeah, it
did.
You're like, oh shit.
No, man. And I mean, look, you said you're not a big horror movie fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not the biggest, but like like.
When they
But
do
I-
it right.
But I love the Conjurings. I think those are good, even though those are full of jump scares. Like I love the but I'm not. I was never I like the early Saws. I'm
Yeah, I
not.
like
I'm not
Saws.
trying
I
to
like-
just. I guess I'm trying to throw my
like the
horror
ri-
movie cred out there.
I like the
but it's
original Halloween movies, like with Michael Myers. I like the original like horror movies, but now it's so hard to make one because everything's been done, man, and it's really hard to be creative and come out of the box with horror and do something new. So that's why I think I'm so critical towards horror movies, because I feel like when I watch them, like I've seen this before. Why can't they do something different? Like with the whole Paranormal Activity, low budget movie, came out and did something different, was phenomenal, and it blew up.
The horror movie genre it's more of a cash cow than anything, just because they know they can make like a really cheap movie and throw it out there, and it makes money just because people want to go for cheap thrills. But
Yeah.
these movies like It and Evil Dead are like the new style of the horror movies that like you can tell a lot of attention were put into it. Like they're actually really good. I loved Evil Dead. I loved It.
Because I mean, look, you can. I would argue that there's always been two kinds of horror movies. You got your cash cow slashers, like your Friday the 13th, but then you had, The Shining. You've always had your
Thing.
like deeper, The Thing, like your deeper horror. That so I mean, yeah, man. In my opinion, or in my view, it's like you could chop them up and. Your thinkers, and then you're just slashers.
Yep.
And it was definitely a thinker, in my opinion.
I agree. All right, so we're gonna wrap up it and get to number 6, which is Wonder Woman. Now, when this movie came and I saw the trailer come out, I was really expecting another letdown from
DC.
DC. But honestly, this is probably the best movie I've seen from DC. And honestly, it was amazing. I really liked the Wonder Woman movie, and I think that was the best job they've done with any movie so far they've released. So I was really impressed with the storyline, character development. I mean, a couple of the characters in the movie, I can't remember their actual names at this moment, but I wasn't really happy with all the characters they put in the movie because I think
It was all about Wonder Woman.
yeah, but it was all about Wonder Woman at the end of the day, and I was pleased with it, man. I'm happy that she's in that, and I can't wait to see the second one. Honestly,
Yeah, I think she's just a badass. Like she was perfect for that role. I love that an Israeli woman is Wonder Woman. Like that's so awesome to me. But yeah, like her fighting, like she just seemed like a natural. Like she seemed like a badass who could be doing something like that, or like she pulled it off.
Well, it's funny because Israelis, they all have to like enlist, right? Like I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure she served in the army.
Yeah, she did. I
They
think
all
so.
have to like serve
I
like
read
2
that.
years in the army.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's just already a badass chick, and I know that that's controversial, even being from Israel. So,
And this reminds me of like Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor Ragnarok, where the director has so much love and care that you can see it. Like it just makes the movie that much better because you can tell the director like gives a shit.
I agree.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've only heard good things. I mean, this is touted
female
as
director.
well. It was
Yeah, Patty
awesome,
Jenkins.
and it's like, look, dude, like, it sucks that it's a modern day issue because it's just like like it's obvious there's always been like funny women, there's gonna be good women directors. It's like like. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I will say though that I'm glad that it did succeed, because it's like there for a while after the whole women's Ghostbusters things, there's like people acting like like there's this whole group of people out there, like I felt like I was shoehorned into being like, well, you hate women and all this shit they do, and it's like, no, it's like, fuck you. I always love I love Lucy and that shit, and I don't need to like prove to you my
Dude,
love
Amy
of
Poehler,
like
Tina Fey,
right,
like,
funny women.
Yeah, there's
Women are
plenty out
obviously
there.
funny, and it was just like, but it was like and it was just funny to me because it was just like and I wasn't rooting for anything. I was rooting for this movie. It's just like, here you have a real, like, this is how you do it. If you want a a role model for a woman, it doesn't get much better than Wonder Woman. But it's just like, don't like come out like men bashing like they were with Ghostbusters with like, and they
Well,
remade it
I-
literally
I-
just because Paul Feig, right? Like,
Yeah, I think a lot of it stems down because of 2017 being very PC, and then the whole feminism movement. I think that had a lot to do with why so many people were like uproar against saying that they're trying to say that men were just against this movie because it was all women, when in reality that wasn't the case. I think people were just mad because the movie was butchered and wasn't like the original Ghostbusters.
But look, at the end of the day, it flopped. It was a shit movie, regardless of the politics around it. Here's the thing: is Wonder Woman succeeded, so you can't have that argument where it's like how you do the numbers, like how many males out there saw this to get those box office numbers up. That's all I'm saying. It's just that's what a joke of a movement, because you had so many people come out against Gal because she's Israeli, and it's just like, well, nothing makes you people happy. It does, is it? Like, it's when it comes to like like, and then it's just like, and I hate that I brought it up, and I'm sorry I got into it, because it's just like, it's movies, but they try to politicize everything nowadays in popular culture,
do.
and it's disgusting.
I hate this whole whitewashing, or whatever you want to call it. You could call it blackwashing, you could call it Asian washing, whatever you want to call it, because it goes both ways. To me, it's like Doctor Strange. Like, Tilda Swinton was amazing in that role, the ancient one.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't picture any Asian actor nowadays playing that role other than her. Like, after seeing her, same thing with Gal Gadot. I can't picture any American actress pulling off Wonder Woman better than Gal Gadot did.
I can't either. It's like kind of trying to put in the perspective of trying to change up like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, or Robbie Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Like, you just can't do it now. Like, if you change those characters and put someone else in it, it just wouldn't have the same effect. And
Well,
the same feel.
it's like like in comic books right now, it's like they made a female Thor, and it's just like,
Oh yeah, there's
It's like-
female Spider-Man.
and it's right, and it's like, I just don't get, like, why
Black
don't
Spider-Man.
you make like or like, right, and like, okay, like instead of making a Black Spider-Man series, it's like, why don't you like do a rerun of like Black Panther? Like, you're already making him, you're already bringing him back in the movies. It's like, all I'm saying is, like, why don't you run with, or God forbid, make new characters?
Yeah, make a new black
But it's just
character,
like,
make a
because
new-
you're acting like there isn't Spawn, who was a black guy, who was a complete badass. It's just like like when it comes to this kind of shit.
Yep.
It's just like, you don't. That's, I guess, in my opinion, is it's like, you don't need to steal intellectual property and paint it up like like, let's make male, female, black, white, whatever. You don't need to do that. It's like, if you want a black superhero, Asian superhero, just fucking make one, or dig one out of Marvel's like IP backlog. I guarantee they have 1,000 characters at the ready that they could do it with. That's all I'm saying, is you don't need that.
I was kind of skeptical about Black Panther, but I'm kind of hyped for it because, like you were saying, like they haven't really shown a lot of him. It seems like Marvel's a little slow to like bring characters to their full potential. You could see it with Thor, even Iron Man. Like, his first couple movies, he was like, his suit was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
It's getting better,
Yeah, I agree.
Same thing with Black Panther. Like, I saw some video there talking about his powers, and like he hasn't even started to display like what he's capable of.
Yeah, so that's another thing about that is, like, I really don't know his backstory, and I really don't want to, because I feel like it's going to ruin. Maybe I need to look it up, make the movie more interesting. But
Just wait till Black Panther. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
yeah, pretty much, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for, because the movies that you do see him in so far, he doesn't really showcase anything, like Greg was saying.
Like, right now, he's just a physical fighter, but he has so much more to offer. They haven't shown it yet. I think they're going to show it in Black Panther and
Yep.
Infinity War.
So I think overall Wonder Woman was a good movie this year. Definitely DC's top movie. I'll be excited to see her in the next movie that comes out with her, second one. So number 5, I put down Alien Covenant, and honestly, I was blown away by this movie. I thought this movie was amazing. I think they did a great job leading off from Prometheus, and I feel like overall, like, dude, I can't wait to see it again. I haven't seen it again since the movie theaters because I really didn't want to, because I wanted to wait till it came out so I could kind of like absorb it all and kind of do some backstory on it and figure out what was going on. But I like Michael Fassbender in it. I think he plays the robot character very well, and it kind of gives the whole like origin story of how this stuff was happening before. Because before, like when you watch Alien, you really didn't know where all this stuff came from unless you really knew the backstory. So
I think he played it too well because they tried to focus more on him than the aliens in this movie because of his performance in Prometheus, which was a bad thing in my opinion. I don't know. He's a good actor, but I just didn't care how it ended up. Like, I liked the beginning of the movie when it was like all mysterious, like, oh, there's a signal on this planet, we're gonna go check it out.
Yep.
And they get infected by those spores. Like, I liked everything up to that until they got to David, and then they go to that temple, and it's just like it felt like the movie just died. It just like, we're at the temple now.
Yeah.
Well, look, this is one of the bigger. I'm not a Star Wars fan. As far as like an ultra Star Wars fan, I'm not like an ultra Aliens fan either. But I've always, I don't know, I felt closer to the Alien franchise as far as because I mean, I guess just personally, it's just like I prefer medieval fantasy over space fantasy. I always have, but when it comes to space fantasy, I mean space horror, like Alien, The Thing, like that kind of shit. It's like Alien. I've just always loved Alien movies, even the shittier ones. And I don't know, man. I was really excited for Prometheus because it's just like, yeah, like you want to know the answers. It's just like, who the fuck are the engineers? And then it's like after this movie though, it was just like, man, I wish I never would have. I just honestly, if they would have left it more mysterious, I would have been always asking like, wow, like who was that big guy they found in that ship on, At this point, I wish they would have left it like that than how the storyline actually played out. And also, it's just like at this point, I want to divide completely. Decouple the Prometheus, prequels or whatever, sequels, whatever they were, like from the Alien franchise, because it's just like you're telling, in my opinion, at this point, you're telling a completely different story. Even though I know they're showing like the lead up into the creation of the aliens, it just doesn't. It just has this whole different feel to it.
And there's a lot of gaps. Like there's a lot of holes too because they're trying to imply that spoiler alert, that he engineered the eggs, but in the second Aliens, there's a queen who's like laying the eggs. So it's like, did he engineer the queen? Did he, there's so many questions if they are going to fill that gap. But I saw some interview not too long ago with Ridley Scott, and he was saying if he was going to do another one, he would focus more on that aspect than the aliens. It would be more on the whole Prometheus. That would
be good. I'd be happy with that.
And I guess personally, it's like, I love Prometheus. I love that movie. I loved rewatching it. Mm-hmm. But it was like Covenant, though. It was just like
it was hard to rewatch.
It makes me want more just classic Alien movies. I'm sorry. It's like you want to keep going down that pet project Ridley. Like that's fine, but it's just like I just want more of Alien, like Aliens, like literally the first 2 movies. Give me more of something like that.
Yeah. But do you think he did that just for the simple fact that he wanted people to kind of understand where this whole aliens came from and how they were developed and stuff like that, and how humans, I'm
starting to come to the belief that not everything needs an origin story anymore. As much as I want one as a fan of like a body of work, it's like take the Dark Souls theory. It's like it's like you're not spoon fed lore. It's like you come across it as you go, and it's like. I think that adds to a world if you're world building. It's like you don't know everything that happened. It's like you see this cool broken thing, or you come across this ship that looks cool as fucking alien. It's like you see this big guy, but you never know what happened. And it's just like some things I think just are better left unsaid. And
it makes it more intriguing if you don't have all the pieces.
Right. And it's just like I hope that we're not going to a point where it's just like, like Star Wars is just butchering it. It's like, because sorry to get back on Star Wars, but I had a good conversation about how it's like we didn't need the prequels. We didn't need Anakin Skywalker's character arc because it was already episodes 4, 5, and 6 were already this nice, neat little package. It's like we didn't need to expand upon Anakin at all to get anything out of it for 4, 5, and 6. That's all I'm saying. Is some things are better left unsaid.
I agree. I think they do that a lot because there's a lot of people who don't read the backstory or don't read the books or whatever comes out of it. They don't know the whole backstory, so they feel like they need to give that to the audience.
And I know that need, and I don't want it too. When you're fanboying, it's like you want to know every little thing about this. But all I'm saying is just like let's just leave some stuff untouched, and let's just forever speculate on what could have been.
Well, it's hard to meet expectation because like when you do show what it is, if it's not what some people want, they get upset. You know, it's like
That is very true.
And the other thing with Alien, there were some good moments. Like I like the horror aspects of it were good. And you have to remember, it's Ridley Scott. It's like it was shot well. I mean, it was beautiful. Like all the space scenes and
It was my druthers were more with the story for sure,
yeah.
but yeah, dude, like beautifully shot, great movie, great theater movie for sure.
I love the horror scenes though. Like, they didn't hold anything back. Like when that guy was like,
dude, great acting.
Yeah, the acting was really good.
The acting was top notch. I hate that I'm blanking out on her name.
Catherine Waterston.
Waterston,
Dude,
and
she's
then
my new favorite actress for sure.
who was who took over as the captain after James Franco died?
I always forget that guy's name.
Billy Crudup.
Yeah, that's right. It's Billy.
Always a great actor, dude. And it was just funny seeing Danny McBride in an Alien movie.
Yeah. I totally forgot he was in there until you just said that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think overall it wasn't. I thought it was a good movie, but yeah, I can see your guys' point still. Why there was a little bit of disappointment in there. Maybe they didn't need to throw all that stuff in there. So, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. So number 4, I put John Wick 2. Dude, I love the John Wick movies.
Great movie.
I could literally talk about this movie all day long.
I think these are going to be one of my new favorite action franchises. Seriously, like in my mind, it's like make 3, 4, 5, 6 right
Did you hear
now.
they are doing that. They're like building a universe.
Fantastic.
John Wick universe.
I mean, overall, dude, I love Keanu Reeves. Every movie the guy's played in, probably maybe 1 or 2, I really didn't really like his role, but overall, the dude is a badass, and he's a phenomenal actor. And I think John Wick 1, I mean, I've probably seen it 20 times. Like every time it's on TV, I sit down, I'm glued to the TV watching it. And John Wick 2, when I saw it in the movie theater, man, I wanted to sit back and go watch it again after we got done watching that movie. I mean, the action scenes, the character.
Only complaint is I felt like it went too fast. Honestly,
I feel like all of his movies do. Like John Wick 1 flew by just as fast as well because the storyline's so well and the action scenes are they're amazing.
It's like the resurgence of like, you know, the late 80s, early 90s action movies, in my opinion. Like the Rambos and the, you know, Terminators is just like, it's got that same feel for me, and that it's just that raw action, and it's something that I wasn't getting from action movies lately, like Transformers, any of that garbage. Is just like just back to the basics, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, they went back to the basics, but they did it so well. It was like like you're saying, the fighting scenes where he's shooting. Like apparently he did like a lot of actual real life training.
Well, actually,
that, like
he is
handgun training.
he's won a lot of tournaments. He actually shoots in real life, and he's won multiple tournaments. He goes,
You can tell.
Like he goes against people that are like in the police force and stuff, and they go and do these like courses and training and stuff. And dude, there's videos on YouTube. I don't know if you guys checked them out, but he's a badass with the shotgun and guns
dude, on
in real
the
life.
3-gun course.
Yeah,
and then I don't know if he does Taekwondo or whatever martial arts he does. Like he's really looks like he's really good at too.
Yeah, because wasn't he in Japan for like 5 years or something?
Yeah,
he like disappeared. For a
he
while.
disappeared for a while and came back, kind of like Dave Chappelle went to Africa and just came back. But yeah, overall, probably one of my favorite movies of 2017.
I loved the deaf chick, the assassin.
Yeah,
she was such a badass.
She was
so hot. I was like, oh my god, please kill me.
Yeah, I can't wait for John Wick 3, man. I hope it comes out here soon. I haven't seen anything about it. I haven't read anything about it, but I'll be.
I love the world, you know. I'm willing to. It's one thing that like I would think would be kind of cheesy, but they played it off well. The way they've handled like the underworld of assassins, and it's just like I can suspend disbelief enough to get into it. And
What's that guy's name? The head of the guy from Deadwood.
Oh,
I always forget his name, but he was perfect for that, for head of the.
I want to say Sean something.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. He was in Game of Thrones.
I know you guys are talking about it, I just can't think of it either. I can look it up if I really want to real quick.
His name's Irish as fuck. I know that.
So we're pulling it up right now. Is it Ed?
No.
That's directors, writing, material, writing credits. Here we go.
Ian McShane.
Ian
That's
McShane.
it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, he would. I know who you
he's
guys are
good.
talking about. Yeah, he's a good actor.
Because he was just like non-biased, as the head. He was just like talking to John, just like, yeah, they're coming to kill you. Like it was no big deal.
Oh yeah, like it's just normal and stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
just another day at the
You
job.
broke the rules. They're coming to kill you.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah. I forgot. That's how it ended, right? He was disavowed, right, from
think
the
so,
whole
yeah.
like little
He
coin
was.
club.
Yeah.
and it's like now he's on his own.
In their
Like
like
where you can't shoot anybody.
their lobby or hotel wherever all the assassins hang out. I can't remember where
Oh,
it's
yeah.
sanctuary. Yeah.
I need to rewatch it. I haven't watched it in a while.
But yeah, they left it off. The end of the movie left it open for another movie, which is good because I think the whole John Wick saga is just gonna keep blowing up. As long as they don't try to like kill off Keanu Reeves, because they try to put someone else in that movie, there's no way I'm gonna watch it.
No.
Okay, so that was number 4 for John Wick 2. Our number 3 movie I put in was Logan. Honestly, guys, Logan was I can't say anything. I wanted to put this as my number 1 movie because honestly, I thought it was probably one of my favorite X-Men's I've probably seen. I thought Hugh Jackman in the movie was phenomenal. I thought the storyline was good. I thought how they ended the movie was really good. They left it open-ended, but they knew they're going to be leading off with the new characters as the kids. I don't think there was a better way to kill off the Wolverine, and I don't know. I wouldn't expect anybody else to play Wolverine for a long time besides his daughter coming up in more movies. So I don't know if you guys know anything more about that, but yeah, I love the movie overall.
Yeah, I guess that is weird. So they did confirm that's his daughter because I know she was engineered the same way he was, but
Yep.
is that technically his daughter?
It's his daughter.
Did they use his DNA?
They
I
use
don't
his,
remember.
they use his DNA, and pretty much like she's got his bloodline, which is why she has the capabilities. Everything's the same.
That'd be
with
cool
him.
because it was just released this year, so I'm guessing it was filmed within the last 2 years. I was gonna say it'd be cool if it was like farther enough along so she could show up in Dark Phoenix like as X-23, but she's still really young.
Yeah,
They might recast her, maybe, I don't know, but I like X-23 or that Wolverine type character. Now that he's gone, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for them to introduce her.
I agree.
But now with Disney buying Fox, I mean, who knows what's going to happen to the X-Men universe now?
Yeah, I always wonder that too. I wonder what was going to happen with the X-Men because they made some great movies, and there was a movie in there a lot of people didn't like it there as well.
I'll be honest. I hope they make another X-Men cartoon series. I know that they've made some shit ones, but that original one back in the 90s still holds up.
They were talking about that being a possibility now that
And-
Disney owns it.
It's crazy how good that like it is, like that cartoon.
But yeah, Logan was probably one of my favorite movies. I really liked the ending was amazing. I really liked it. I really like how they did the scene.
Oh, I always love a bittersweet ending, you know.
Yeah.
Like how like Rogue One, man. Fucking that's my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
Just
I mean they had to kill
bittersweet.
off Professor X. There's no better way because I mean, I think people wanted him still to be in the other movies. He might make a guest appearance maybe in later in X-Men. He's just getting to an age I think he just can't do it anymore. I think he's past his time. But I really like at the end how they buried him, put the X there at the end. That was really cool. The graphics were really cool. I like all the new characters they're going to introduce, which is cool because I really don't know a lot about the new characters from X-Men. So yeah, I'm excited to see where they go from here with this movie and the whole X-Men series.
I haven't seen it since the beginning of this year, but I remember liking it. I remember enjoying it.
It was better than the first Wolverine movie.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really impressed with that Wolverine.
Deadpool. Back when Deadpool was. That's so crazy that he was able to be recast as the same character and like make it work.
Right.
agree.
When does that ever happen?
It was really weird because, like, in that movie, like, his hands were just giant swords and stuff. Like, it wasn't the original, like, the real I mean, I guess it was Deadpool really the character with swords in his hands, or was it the character now
No.
casted?
No, they butchered the shit out of
Okay.
Deadpool and that. God, those X-Men movies are terrible.
I mean, not all of them are terrible. I really like.
That's personal opinion.
Yeah, I like the ones the Future Past one. I thought was probably one of my
I'm
favorite
just
ones.
talking about the original 3. I hated them.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much all for Logan. I don't know if anyone else agrees with it, but I think it was a great movie.
Yeah, it was good.
Number 2, I put down Thor Ragnarok. This was really a toss-up between this and the number 1, which is Spider-Man, but we're going to talk about number 2 for Thor Ragnarok.
I'd probably put Ragnarok as my number 1 personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were both good.
It was just a toss-up because, and the reason I only put Thor as number 2 is because Spider-Man is one of those movies I feel like I can rewatch multiple times, which I've already watched it 5 times.
which I've already done. Yeah.
With Thor, I've watched it twice, and I've watched it twice, and you know, it was good. But for some reason, Spider-Man was one of those movies where I just feel like I can continue to watch it multiple times and not get bored of it. Maybe that's why I put it up there.
I don't even know what it is about it that makes it so rewatchable. Because I'm not even the type that rewatches movies. I will if I haven't seen him in a long time and it feels fresh. But I've rewatched Spider-Man like 3 times. Already.
Spider-Man's like Bud Light. Thor Ragnarok's like a nice stout lager. You can drink a 6-pack of Bud Light, but it's like you only ever really want to drink like maybe 2 lagers.
Yeah, but get
Well, the point I'm getting at is like what is it? It was just like it was pretty thick. And if I had to dissect that down further from thick, is just I don't know if I could into words right now. But do you guys am I making
Thor?
sense? Yeah, Thor. It just felt pretty thick.
I see what direction.
And I can't speak more to Spider-Man. I was just joking about the 6-pack, but I haven't seen Spider-Man yet.
Thor was, I mean, Disney nailed it on the head, man. Or not Disney, but Marvel. They made a great movie again. It was funny. Some parts were just, I mean,
It's great to see Spider-Man back in fucking away from Sony and back in Marvel's hands.
It's crazy. He showed up in Civil War and like instantly you could tell like, oh, Marvel, they nailed Spider-Man. Like they nailed it.
It's funny, something that Sony couldn't do for over a decade.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know, man.
And then he finally gets his own outing. What's great about it is it's not just him. It's like Iron Man. Robert Downey's in it quite a bit as Iron Man. And then Jennifer Connelly plays his little AI.
Yep.
His little AI in his
and then Aunt May.
Aunt May. Yeah.
Aunt May, yeah, for sure.
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei. That's why Iron Man comes over so much to visit. But yeah, back to Thor Ragnarok. I thought the movie was it was awesome. I liked the entire way they did with it. I liked the whole world they went to. I liked Jeff Goldblum was in it. I thought he was fucking hilarious. I mean, I don't think anybody else could have played that character better than Jeff Goldblum.
Dude, I mean, come on. We're talking about Thor Ragnarok here. You got to talk about the goddess of death. I mean, she was definitely fucking took the cake.
Oh yeah, she did
in
for
the
sure.
whole movie.
How old
Was
is-
it
how old
Hera? Was that her name? Hera?
Hella.
Hella, that's right.
Hella.
Hella, I think.
Hell yeah.
How
no,
old is Kate
man.
Blanchett?
I don't know. It's like she's timeless. She's ageless, and it's like, dude, like she was just amazing. Some of those scenes, like seriously, what is Valhalla, right? Is that or what's their world's name?
Asgard.
Asgard.
Yeah.
Always very impressive. Always visually like it's eye candy on screen.
Yeah, the CGI is
And
always
then
amazing.
when she comes in being a fucking badass and just crashes down the ceiling to show like the old
Yeah, that was cool.
the old mosaics or portraits or whatever
Yep.
what life was like before like Thor even knew and before the peaceful time.
Try and swept it under the rug.
And then, and then she goes down and like has all of the Dragors and her fucking wolf like in waiting and shit. Like
That
I don't
was
know,
cool.
man. It really was. It was fucking epic, dude.
I wish they would
was-
have featured Fenrir more, the big wolf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
He was cool.
Which I mean, who knows what's gonna happen with her? They left it open ended. She didn't. if you don't see somebody die on screen, you know, they're not truly dead.
If she is that truly all powerful, I'm sure she should survive that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
It's just that she draws power from Asgard.
right. Which is why it had to get destroyed.
But no, look, I will say this, just a little bit of speculation, and then I'll shut up. Is like they're looking to rebuild Asgard. Is that going to repower her in some form or whatever? Because it's like if they were saying, you know, they made a point of saying it's like Asgard's not the planet, it's the people.
It's the people, yeah.
Right.
So it's like as long as there's people, she's going to generate power.
Yeah.
I think so. That's just some speculation.
Yeah, I like the whole movie. I like the whole storyline, the plot. I like how they left it and they let it off to it's going to go right to Infinity Wars. You know, I didn't the one thing that was kind of weird about the movie was the whole what was it? I guess the fighting scene where they were at that planet going through like what is it called? I can't remember the planet's name, but with Jeff Goldblum when he was going through like the chair and all the stuff, whatever. It was kind of like the Willy Wonka theme song they played.
Oh yeah.
At first, I thought it was kind of crazy and
Trash
weird.
Planet.
Yeah, the Trash Planet. But then overall, it was pretty funny. Like it was just weird they had to go through that whole thing. I didn't really get the backstory with that, but I guess it was just supposed to be kind of like how Jeff Goldblum is.
I appreciated that planet and that scene for, in my opinion, even from the trailers, when you looked at it, it was more spacey. It was like, in my mind, it was always leading to, like, well, you got to, just remember, we're leading into Infinity Wars. So it's like, you know, we're going to get into spacier kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I do like how they held off Doctor Strange, you know, for later in, you know, the main story arc and
Yeah.
like, you know, the weirder shit.
I'm glad they did.
for
I'm glad they
later.
did feature him, and though I didn't expect him to be in Thor Ragnarok at all. It was kind of cool to see him actually in there and do what he had to do.
See his powers advance. Like,
Yeah.
He's like a pro now.
Yeah,
just,
he's a
like,
pro.
Teleporting Thor around the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. The comedy was second to none. It was so good.
It was
like,
good.
the
It's
laughs
probably
per minute
one of
was
the
just,
funniest ones I've seen from Marvel out of all the
Dude,
Marvel series.
Marvel, they've got that down pat. The little bit of comedy in the action movies, like you got to give it to them. It's just something that DC can't.
Touch.
They just can't capture it. They tried so hard
Well,
in
it's-
Justice League, but
Yeah.
they just couldn't.
So, is there
It was
anything
really
else?
it was really colorful too. Like
Oh, yeah.
they're on a trash planet. Like that could have been so gray and like
Dark.
muted
Right.
tones. But
Yeah.
it was gorgeous.
Very vibrant, and then those scenes, because you know they filmed those scenes, those where they like it
The
looks
slow-mo?
the slow mo. That
I
was
heard
like
about
a
that.
new kind of
New technology.
new kind of
I didn't
technology
even know.
they
Don't
built.
even know what to talk about, but I'll
for-
look that up.
Yeah, like
They
it's
used,
like
strobe lights. I think.
it was crazy. I don't remember it, but like okay, so like there was a scene with Hela coming in, and then there was a scene with the Valkyries. The Valkyries
Oh,
scene
kind
was
of
really
talking about
cool.
yeah.
yeah.
They're
On
the
the
Pegasus and horses and flying. Yeah.
how it looks so cool. Yeah, they like I don't want to say they invented a new kind of,
I think they did.
but I think they did.
That's
They
awesome.
invented a new kind of special effect.
I think it was like a multi-angled camera setup with like some sort of strobe light effect. I don't remember. all
No,
the details,
it
but
makes it look like a holofoil,
Yeah.
like in a movie.
It was really cool.
That's
yeah.
pretty sick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, overall, I think Thor was a great movie. I'm excited for Infinity Wars. I don't know if they're going to do any more Thors after this movie. I don't know if you guys have heard anything like that at all. But if they do, I'm sure it'll be another hit movie because Thor is just everybody loves Thor.
As of right now, there's no standalone Iron Man or Thor in the docket. I think, and plus their contracts. I mean, I don't know how much longer these guys are going to be around. you
Right.
know, because
Right, we're gonna probably bleed into more like Ant-Man's, Doctor Strange's,
Yeah,
and
there's
then
Spider-Man,
Black Panthers,
Black
Spider,
Panthers,
yeah.
Which is cool, and
Miss
I'm excited. That
Marvel.
it just, I think everybody's so hyped up about all these characters. It's going to be hard to see them. I guess people are going to be wanting to hold on to them, not let them go. Which,
It'll be the end of an era.
if they
Yeah.
will, I think Iron Man will still make appearances in movies. I think some of these other characters will as well.
Yeah, you'll get your little cameos here and there, but I'm sure unless or it wouldn't surprise me if one day, like cameo, but then maybe like 10 years down the line that like they do bring back like Chris Evans in a bigger role
standalone.
for or a standalone, or like just to play a bigger role, like how maybe like a Sam Jackson kind of role as like a mentor to some younger whoever. Who knows?
They
Who
probably
really
will.
knows?
I mean, you think about it. They did it with, Han Solo, and
Right, that same kind of shit. You
Yeah.
know, just yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen Cap since Civil War because he's like a war criminal,
Right.
you know, and he's gonna make his first appearance in Infinity War, and he's all like got a beard and shit.
Yeah.
Get this man a shield.
All right, so that was number 2 of my list, and then of course number 1, Spider-Man: Homecoming, which we kind of talked about already a little bit. But overall, this was my favorite movie of 2017.
So many things I loved about this movie. I love that they skipped the origin. Like, how many times do we need to see that origin?
I don't think I need to see it one more time.
This was like 2 years after Ben's death, so it was like it was like, thank you for skipping all that. We all know that story.
Yeah.
And I love that you can tell Tom Holland's like more mature. He just looks young for his age. I'm sure he's not 15 because the character is 15, but he pulls off that teenager like perfectly. I'm sure he's older than 15.
It's something, dude. It's something that bothered me that Tobey Maguire never could do, and actually, in my opinion, ruined the Spider-Man. Is I guess they're going for that young innocence, you know, nerdy, but still can flip it on and be Spider-Man. He just never did it for me. But it's just like, from what little I've seen from Tom Holland, he's got it. He's got it down pat.
Yeah,
He really does.
He can
Perfect
play the little kid, and he can be a Spider-Man.
I think this is his first like real big movie. I don't know if he's made appearances in anything else. Maybe you guys know.
Apparently, he's been a kid actor. He's been around for a while. I've seen some screenshot of a movie where he was like 6 or 7 or something.
Yeah, but for this movie, for how mature and how good he was in the movie, I mean, dude, he knocked the part out of the park. He was my favorite character in the entire movie. So I mean, he's the reason I even liked the Spider-Man movie. So I mean,
But no, to that point, it's like Tobey Maguire's the reason I didn't like those early Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
well, me either. Honestly, I mean, I forgot the other guys.
I feel like a lot is dependent now, thanks to Sony, for Spider-Man movies. Is just like, your actor needs to shine. Your actors need to shine, because if they ever try rebooting the Fantastic Four again, God forbid they don't, but if they do, it's like, can we please, for the love of God, get some good actors in here for this?
I agree.
Yeah,
Hey.
with Spider-Man, it was the acting, it was like they had Michael Keaton.
Dude,
He was
Michael
So
amazing.
come on,
Michael
man.
Keaton's-
Birdman.
He's
He was
amazing.
so good.
I love Michael Keaton.
For him to play Vulture after playing Birdman,
Right.
That was so amazing.
It was great. You know, I think the other thing people forget, or maybe they don't forget, is Spider-Man's kind of like the Star Wars of like the Marvel series. I mean, Spider-Man's what was the first comic he ever did for, or was it not the first comic he ever did? Stan Lee.
It's the most popular. Like
Made the most
everybody
popular.
loves Spider-Man.
But overall,
Kids fucking love him.
exactly, he's the most hyped up, probably one that all kids love, kind of like Batman for DC. I mean, there's such a big thing to do with Spider-Man, and now that they probably knocked it out of the park, I mean, I could see him making 2 or 3 movies out of Spider-Man with Tom Holland. So, and I hope they do. I mean, I hope they keep rocking and rolling with these movies. But yeah, I'm excited to see the next one, because I know it's going to be out, like, I think in 2020 or 19. I think I saw another movie coming out with Spider-Man.
What I liked about it too was it showed him like more of like a grounded Spider-Man. Like, it was like, oh, he's been doing it for 2 years, but he's still been like low key. Then Iron Man finds out about him. You know, Tony Stark approaches him in Civil War, so now he's got this relationship with Tony Stark to where he's like doing this fake internship. So he thinks he's like ready for more. Tony knows he's not, so then he tries to get wrapped up in more things, and then it backfires, you know,
Right.
without saying too much. And then
Yeah.
you know, and then the suit that was badass.
Dude, his
like-
suit. I never expected Spider-Man to have a suit that was like Iron Man's suit that had AI in it to help him control himself. That they brought that to another platform or direction, which was just genius, man. I thought that was the coolest thing about it, was his new suit. I mean, that made part of the movie. I know, Sam, you haven't, or Kevin, you haven't seen this yet or nothing, but I think once you do, I think you'll understand what me and Brandon are great.
Dude, you have to
talking
see.
about.
I have to get you that Blu-ray so you can watch it. It's
Yeah.
so good.
I gotta see it. Yeah.
So overall, that was my top movie of the year. It was between that and Thor Ragnarok. It was really hard. I mean, either one of those.
They were both good.
They were both amazing movies.
It's a good year for Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Every year's a good year.
Yeah. I mean, for
Marvel.
2017, this was
Next
probably
year is gonna be insane.
Yeah. Last year for movies,
Or this year,
it was
rather.
just amazing. We were very spoiled with movies in 2017 for sure. I mean, and I hope it continues down this way, but I'm sure it's not going to. So let's get into the top 5 worst movies of mine of 2017, and hopefully you guys agree with me with a lot of these movies. Is number 5 I put was Justice League. Now, I didn't go in theaters to see this movie because as soon as I heard the reviews and all this stuff, I was already negatively, biased towards even going to watch it at theater. I kind of watched the director's cut because I heard it was better. But once I've watched it, because I just wanted to see how it was, it was just a letdown, man. I think the movie was just rushed. I felt like the character development sucked, and I felt like the plot was just terrible as well. Like, I just think it was a rush movie, and they're trying to keep up with all these Marvel movies that are coming out, and I think the problem is they don't need to rush this stuff to make a good movie. I think they just need to make better character development and just do better on the whole plot of the movie.
I actually, as hard as I can go on some movies, I will cut this one some slack. I think this is the straw that broke my Rotten Tomatoes back, and I think from moving forward, I'm going to try to limit my exposure to Rotten Tomatoes and like limit their effect on my opinions. I mean, I did go in with very low expectations for this movie, and in doing so, I was able to enjoy this. Obviously full of faults. I mean, like, this was the one where it's like jokes weren't hitting, they were trying. I mean, the Flash was supposed to be comic relief, and it just was not hitting.
Well, that's another thing. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's like the way they try to be funny in movies, they're just not funny, and it's terrible. Like,
well, I was going to blow it up to the bigger topic of, like, they're trying to be Marvel movies. Like, I mean, I think there was even, like, talk from behind, the scenes when they were getting it together is like Snyder was envisioning obviously a darker version, and it was pissing off studio execs, and they kept interfering, and they're like, I think literally one even said, he's like, we want it to be more like the Marvel movies, and it's like, that's the completely wrong approach. It's like, Marvel's doing Marvel. It's like DC needs to, like, I guess, whatever,
do their own thing.
Find their voice, however you want to say it, but like hit their stride and then run with it, because it's like, you've got great properties there. I mean, look at Chris Nolan's Batmans. I mean, they did Dark good. Like, I've got some minor gripes with the third one that he made, but other than that, I thought the Dark Knight was fantastic. But yeah, it's like, if you're gonna go with the darker world, you got to go dark, and they've got. I mean, I prefer Marvel characters over DC, like I have for a long time now. But it's like they've got plenty they can work with. This was disappointing in that. And now after saying that, I would say that the one thing they should have copied from Marvel was their character development was set up where it's like you give them their one-shots first and then bring them together for a movie, because it was just like that part felt so rushed. They were just like, oh, Superman's dead, let's get the team together. All right, we got the team together, and they're already fighting this guy, and then while you're realizing they're fighting these like bad guys, you're like, this is the main bad guys, like henchmen of the movie, and then they're fighting the main bad guy, and it just goes by so fast, and you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? And it's like,
exactly. And when I watched it, I didn't even know where half those people came from. Like, when they grabbed these characters, I'm like, where the hell did this person come from?
Right, like getting Aquaman rushed. It was just like the only ones who felt very fluid was Wonder Woman, and that's just because of her relationship with Batman. And then it was like the way they approached Cyborg, I thought was fucking stupid. And
I didn't like his
Flash
character at all. I thought he was terrible.
Fucking stupid. The way they assembled him, I thought was stupid. I mean, I still think there's potential there. I think if you get the right director, man, I feel like Cyborg's a good enough actor, the guy, that you can pull that out and you can make a good one. I don't know how you're ever going to make a good Aquaman. I don't think the guy has the acting chops to get a good Aquaman, so I think that might be a lost cause.
I think with his character, they're trying to do like a Thor character with Chris Hemsworth, where all
right,
the girls like him, but he sucks at acting. So
that's the thing, though, is it's like he sucks at acting, and I don't know. I would like to hold out hope, because I like what's his name who plays the Flash in the actor. I think.
I don't know his name.
I
like him. I liked him as Flash.
I think there's potential. Just potential there. I think Aquaman's just going to be the weak link, but they've got an uphill struggle from now, because it's like, do you want to start messing and getting into the dark side storyline? It's like, I don't know how you're going to approach it at this point.
The Flash, was it Urza Miller?
Yeah, Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller, man. Yeah. Really good actor.
What else has he been in? That sounds familiar.
We need to talk about Kevin.
Yeah.
He played a serial killer kid.
Ezra Miller. He played in Flash. Well, that's not even coming out yet, but he plays in
Yeah, Flashpoint. That's a standalone.
Flashpoint. He played in the Fantastic Beast, which I didn't know that he played that.
Oh yeah,
Where
he
to
was
find
the
it?
creep in that. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Credence,
I forgot.
and
Okay. It's nice seeing him in like a comedic role because it's cool that like seeing him do both sides now. 'cause
Yeah.
I haven't seen him other than that. He was in. Was he in Suicide Squad? Was the Flash in Suicide Squad?
yes, he was in Suicide Squad, and he was in Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice as well.
I don't remember him making an appearance
I don't either, but it says on IMDb that he
Maybe
played
a
in it.
quick
after credits scene
cameo, or
something.
maybe an after credit scene.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm with Sam. I went in with low expectations, so like, because I was just gonna wait for the director's cut to even watch it, but there was actually a good copy floating around, so I was like, I'll watch it, and like it wasn't disappointing because I really didn't have any expectations.
I mean, that's same with me.
But I feel like they definitely should have done the standalones first and then bring it all together because without seeing the director's cut, it did feel super rushed trying to get everybody together.
Yep.
Like into the team.
I think that was my biggest disappointment with it. That, and I felt like this was the one movie out of all the movies after Wonder Woman that they could have just done amazing job on with all these characters. They could have been like, wow, DC's finally going to go in the right direction, and nope, they.
Well, I'll also give him the Supermans. I enjoyed the Superman movies.
Well, yeah, Superman's are amazing. I love the Superman movies.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm still my verdict is still out on Ben Affleck as Buttman. So
I'm
liked-
not sold on him as Batman either.
I liked him in Batman vs Superman. I remember leaving the movie thinking, yeah, he was a badass Batman. But in this one, it was just like, okay, it felt. You could tell he like didn't want to be there sometimes. Like he's just like was phoning.
I even read something online in an interview. He said he didn't want to be Batman anymore.
Yeah.
So that's
he's trying to get out.
That's the whole problem with the DC world is how many Batmans have we had? I mean, literally, that is like one of the most characters I think I've ever heard in this world that were Batman was one of the first movies that were.
Dude, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale.
I love Christian Bale's Batman though.
It was the best.
I cannot.
Michael
they should
Keaton,
have just paid
Christian
him
Bale's
money.
Batman's. Val Kilmer's wasn't bad. George Clooney's was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Michael Keaton wasn't bad. That was the original one.
No,
He was
him
good.
and Christian Bale are my two
That was
favorites.
Michelle Pfeiffer, right?
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Dude,
Catwoman.
Batman Returns
Danny
with
DeVito.
Danny
Danny
DeVito.
DeVito.
Oh my god,
Jim
classic.
Carrey.
Great
Jim Carrey is.
We'll have to bring that up on the nostalgia
Yeah.
cast because I would love to talk about Batman Returns.
I would too. That'd be great. So yeah, overall, Justice League was my number 5.
I felt the CGI was good.
The CGI was good.
It was. They spent plenty of money and you got your money's worth out of that. It's definitely one to see in theaters.
There were two scenes I really like. One scene was when they were fighting. I forgot where they were fighting because I don't think it was on Earth. Maybe it was, but there was a Green Lantern fighting, and like he dies somehow. And then you see his ring fly off his hand and like fly to the next owner. You know how the ring
Yeah.
works or whatever. It
Yep.
like tries to find its new owner. I thought that was the cool little Easter egg. And the other thing I liked was when Flash was like running around Steppenwolf, and Steppenwolf's like following him with his eye, like. Or was it Superman? It was Superman, right? Not
yeah, he just
Steppenwolf.
starts.
Yeah, Superman's like following him with his eye. He's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, because he's used to no one being able to keep
Did-
track of him when he's running that fast.
To go off kind of like subject, the original Green Lantern movie that came out, was that a DC movie? And did Ryan Reynolds play that as well? And that was the whole just just dumpster fire. I
Dude,
remember.
Ryan Reynolds is lucky to keep getting superhero movies after they keep fucking tanking.
Yeah. Well, now with just to go on that subject, now his character that he plays now with Deadpool, I mean, he's phenomenal. He's funny as hell.
Fits him perfectly.
It does. It's a perfect role.
I feel it's just such a shame about the Green Lantern because it was kind of. I felt the CGI wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't terrible. The movie was just
The
atrocious.
story was trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really liked the guy who played Sinestro. I don't even know who the actor's name is, but he nailed that. He looked just like him. I was like, that's Sinestro. That's him.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So I like the whole Green Lantern and like the yellow. I forgot what they're called, the Yellow Corps or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that story. I wish they could keep it galactic and like stay away from the ground. Like I know it's his origin story, him getting the ring, and it's like, oh, he's a pilot and da 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 da. He's got a girlfriend, but it's like just get to the galactic shit and make it interesting.
Yeah, right.
But what do you think, though? Because you brought up a good point that when they were doing that flashback on the war and they were showing the Green Lanterns, you think that that completely wasn't even on my radar. I wonder if they're going to reboot that.
I hope they do. I
wonder
hope
if
they
that's
do, and I hope they do.
their indication of showing like, hey, here's a new Green Lantern.
Yeah.
You know, like
I'm sure if they've hinted on it, that they're going to hopefully bring that character back in the right direction.
He's one of the badass DC characters that I do like.
I
It's
do
a
too.
shame that movie was shit because his powers are awesome.
Yep.
In fact,
Totally
he can
I
just make
literally
anything.
totally forgot that movie until you brought it up because it was one of those movies I just kind of like. I'm gonna forget about this movie like it ever happened.
Right.
So, all right. So I think that's pretty much sums up Justice League, and hopefully the next DC movie isn't. It's better than this one, at least in my opinion. I think it will. Be
Real
better.
quick, Sam, what you were saying earlier about Rotten Tomatoes, in regards to Justice League, like you said how this broke your Rotten Tomatoes back. Like I think, dude, Mother did that for me. I would put Mother in my top 10 for this year. And after seeing the mixed reviews on that, especially Rotten Tomatoes giving it, I'm pretty sure it got either like a 50% or worse. But
I think I got like a 45% or something.
it's like I know what I like these days, and I don't need some critic telling me, what's what. I realize that there's a consensus and like a general, overall idea of what people think the movie's, if it's good or bad. But it's like, if you like DC characters and you like the Justice League, you're probably gonna like this movie,
Yeah.
whether it's a bad movie or not. Same thing with like, Mother. If you like those type of thrillers or like, if you know what you're getting into and you're probably going to like it, then it doesn't matter what.
Well, I think that's
what
the
it's scored.
world-
Even if it's a mediocre movie of the type of movie that you like, you're still probably going to enjoy it.
yeah.
Well, right. It's like, Murder on the Orient Express got terrible reviews, but my cousin loved it. And it's just like, but me and my cousin have a very similar tastes and things like that. So it's like, I know I'm going to enjoy it. And it's just like, so it's just like, yeah, dude, it's like I want to just start getting away from Rotten Tomatoes, and it's like go back to just enjoying movies.
I don't-
Like, and I was he here when we were talking about trailers?
I brought it up earlier talking about trailers in general, like how they show too much in movies, which kind of ruins the movies nowadays. And it's kind of just better to watch the teaser and not even just watch the movie so you
Right,
go in there
'cause That's
blind.
all I want. That's all I was just going to touch upon as well. Is like I'm almost done with trailers.
Oh,
It's hard not to watch them, but it's like anything past the teaser though, they're showing too much nowadays.
Oh, yeah, I think it's just the world we live in now with the social media and all this stuff. It's like everybody's expectations they feel like are going to be the same when it comes to a movie, when in reality that's not the truth. And with everything so close to your fingers, you're like, oh, I'm going to look at Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb reviews. It's like, oh, it only got a 6 out of 10. Well, I'm not watching that. It kind of like turns people off right away, which kind of hurts movies. Because back in the day when we grew up, like in the early 90s, 2000s, there was no internet with I'm gonna go get reviews. It's like I'm going to watch
was
this
on the
after the trailer.
newspaper.
Right, you read the newspaper.
Right.
I remember
Right,
reading
yeah.
movie reviews in the newspaper.
Right, so it's
Damn.
And it was
Like,
just whatever your local writer thought.
right, and the way we used to go off things was, hey, my friend saw it and said it was good, or hey, saw it was bad, and you still went and saw it regardless, even if they told you that because you thought, I'm gonna see it for
That
myself.
was the industry. Is you were just going to see movies. Some are good, some are bad, but you like that was just like a form of entertainment. But now it's like Rotten Tomatoes can make or break a fucking movie.
They really can.
Well, the movie industry, and I hate to compare it to the music industry, but it's very similar into where like whatever's popular, it's like that they just push that, and that's what's out in theaters. Like there's a bunch of indie movies that most people never even hear of that are really really good, that get crazy good reviews.
We were
Like-
talking about that earlier.
Like
Dude,
Lady Bird, apparently that broke all the Rotten Tomatoes records, and I was like, it's not even in theaters. I don't
Never even
know
heard
if
of it.
Yeah.
No trailers. No
I
nothing.
just want to say like a ghost story. I don't know if you guys have heard of that with Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck.
That was their 17 movie that came out.
That was yeah. It came out this year. I saw it. Got like a 90, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes, didn't it, Randy? And it was
Yeah.
like it was like an indie. It was an indie movie, and it was like very poignant, and it was like
Didn't have a $300 million budget, and
right. No, but it was a fantastic fucking movie.
Yeah. That's how I kind of look at Wind River the same way, where it was like, it was just a good movie. It didn't have like an outstanding budget or anything crazy, but it was just a good movie.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. Yeah, it's kind of hard nowadays. That's the way it is. Like, I think we've talked about this before.
Luckily, I like superhero movies because they're popular.
That's what I was saying. Like, I feel like whatever's the popular type of genre of movies, that's what they're pushing. It's like, what are they going to do after? I mean, superhero movies can only go so long, right? Probably not. They probably have, their backlog's probably huge, but they're not going to be this popular forever. They're going to get to a point where they're going to die off because all the characters have been spent.
I think eventually, regardless of the quality of the movie, people are just going to be like, another fucking superhero movie, really?
And they're starting to change up the game. Like New Mutants, apparently that's like a horror movie. It's like an X-Men style. It's an X-Men franchise movie, but they're saying it's like a horror movie.
But that's you know what, if they want to keep going, that's the kind of shit they're going to need to do. They need to start switching up the formulas,
finding new ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. I mean, yeah, I'm excited. You know, I like the whole.
That's why I'm excited for Captain Marvel. Sorry to keep cutting you off.
No, that's good. I think that's great. I'm excited for all these type of superhero movies, but I'm getting to a point where I still want them to make other movies besides superhero movies. Like, it's not the only thing I want to watch, you know, all the time. And I'm glad that not.
There's a lot of good comic series out there that they could do. Like, it doesn't have to be just Marvel comics. Like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of good, like The Last Man. Why The Last Man?
Yep.
It's about a world where every male on the earth has died except for this one guy. So the entire planet's run by women. And this guy is like a valuable commodity because obviously he's the only one that can keep the human race going. So like,
That's awesome.
it's like these women in power trying to fight over this guy so that they can, you know, reproduce.
I've never seen that. It actually sounds pretty funny. Have you seen it?
It's a comic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a comic book
I'll have to watch
series.
that.
I never finished it, but I got a little far through it, like halfway through it probably.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many ideas that they could do that they could make into like good movies or even video games. Like if they actually like put the heart and attention into a video game movie like they did a comic book movie, like
There's so many good
stories.
like they tried to. I can bring that up. They tried to with
like
Assassin's
BioShock,
Creed.
dude. Imagine a sick BioShock
Or
movie.
BioShock. Like Assassin's Creed, they tried, and dude, they totally bombed it. Like they made it nothing. Like there was no storyline or nothing with it. Put Jake Gyllenhaal in it to try to be the guy. Was it Jake Gyllenhaal for Assassin's Creed?
You're thinking of Prince of
Fast-
Persia.
Oh, Prince of Persia, which is another game. But regardless,
Fassbender was in Creed.
that's right. Yeah, I was actually excited when I saw that movie, and when I saw the reviews on it, here's their Rotten Tomatoes review, I saw it. I didn't go see it, but then when it came out on TV, I watched probably about the first 30 minutes of it, and I turned it off because I was just like, who thought this was a good idea to make this movie like this?
I think Hollywood's realizing that they can't just throw an A-list name on a movie and like expect it to be successful anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if the story's shit and the movie's shit, it's like it doesn't matter if Michael Fassbender's in it. It doesn't matter.
Hard medicine.
It doesn't
But
matter
I mean,
if Matt McConaughey and Idris Elba are in it. It's gonna be shit.
but I mean, maybe these like old school execs need to die out. Like, you know, you need to lose more Harvey Weinsteins and a lot more classic people. And it's like, because we need a new Hollywood, I would argue.
I would
That
agree.
Hollywood
We did.
right now
Everybody
is
would
just,
argue that.
you know, like everybody just wants a tentpole franchise. Like that's it, and it's like it's all about making money right now. And if anybody says it's anything different, I'm sorry, but you're full of shit. Like they sacrifice every goddamn day, like sacrifice art and creativity and actual like good, you know, movie scenes or whatever. You know, it's all about money. Dude. It's about making money.
I feel like we've talked about this before, where it's like I feel like they just try to pump out as many movies as they can. It doesn't matter if it's shit or not, because they're just looking at the revenue point of just we want to make money, even if it's a dumpster fire or not. They made a little bit of money, they're happy, right? So I feel like they sometimes do push movies just to make money, and then they don't care about the creativity. They don't care about the whole backstory or anything.
They have franchises specifically for that. Just look at Paranormal Activity. It's like they have a franchise like, oh, this is successful. Let's make another one. If they keep going to see it, let's make more. It's like it doesn't matter the quality.
Yeah, it's like-
they get money off of it.
It's like the Ocean's movie with the Ocean 6 movie that's coming out, or 7 or what the hell it is. It's like, okay, that movie was great. The first 3 were phenomenal. I guarantee you, and not to say it because it's women or anything like that, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they should have just left the movie alone. They should have made another spin-off of the Ocean series. That's just my opinion.
right.
As long as Paul Feig's not behind it, I don't give a shit.
As long as Paul Feig doesn't have a career anymore, I'm behind it.
So, yeah. So, get back down on topic and go down the rabbit hole of all this stuff. Number 4 was War for the Planet of Apes. Now, I actually watched about an hour of this movie.
I haven't seen it.
And
I haven't.
It has really good reviews. And the only reason I put it on one of my worst movies of the year is because I don't know anything about Planet of the Apes. I'm not really into Planet of the Apes. And it's just one of those movies that I didn't think was really, you know, something I enjoyed. I mean, I guess there's a big fan base for it. and probably a lot of people are gonna be like pissed because I put it on the worst movies of the year because it got such good reviews. But
Yeah, a lot of our listeners are gonna get real pissed,
Yeah.
Randy.
but overall, the CGI and stuff was cool, but I didn't like the movie. I don't like the whole Planet of the Apes thing. I feel like it's one of those movies they just keep latching on to make money, like we're just talking about.
Yeah, there's no creativity left. They just rehashed an old franchise. That's
I feel like every couple of years you see another War of the Planet of the
yeah,
Apes
you're gonna
movie come
see
out. Like how many times can you have
rehash, reboot? Like it's like this is what kills me is just like nobody can make like a new action movie anymore. It's like you gotta the same, like well, let's bring back Planet of the Apes. Really, it's just like and then how long, how long is it really gonna take for what is it another goddamn like reboot for like fucking Avengers? Like I wouldn't be surprised.
I'd be really pissed if they didn't try to do that. But yeah, for overall number 4, that's what I have. I know most of us probably haven't seen it. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but
I've seen the first 2, and
I don't know why they made another one.
if their end game is to get to the point where they're as evolved as they were in the original movies, like that'd be cool if it ended up getting there. Because I know in this one that like not just Caesar talks, like they all start talking.
Yep.
So like it's starting to get to that point.
Right.
I just feel like it's kind of long and drawn out and getting to that point.
Me too.
I think once they do get to that point, it will be cool. It'll all tie together and be like, oh, cool, Because the one with what's his name, the original, where he sees the Statue of Liberty.
The Planet of the Apes?
Charleston Heston.
Charleston.
Yeah.
It's like that's like years in the future.
Mhm.
This is like real time, so it would make sense if they were going down that route. Like, it's just I don't know.
Maybe
it
they
just
can-
seems long and drawn out. And I haven't even seen this one, so I don't know how this one ends. Like, if it ties into, are they making another one? I don't even know.
I bet
Do-
they are. I would almost assume they are making another movie.
Do you guys remember the Marky Mark one?
Yeah.
When he gets back to what he thought was planet Earth and he gets arrested by some police apes.
I was just literally that just sparked an idea. I was thinking in my head like Spaceballs when they get blown up at the end, then it land on the Planet of the Apes at the end. That movie was great.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, that's all I want to say about Planet of the Apes. I'm sure if you guys watch more, we'd have more to say. But I just didn't care for the movie, and I really don't care if they make another one, honestly. So number 3, I put down Transformers: The Last Night. Now I knew after.
Did you actually see this? Did you watch this? Did you watch this?
Yeah, so I
Do
actually.
people still watch Transformers movies?
It's kind of comical because after the last one that came out with what's it called? It wasn't Shia LaBeouf in it, but it was who would they put in the movie?
Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg. I watched that one, and I was so pissed off when I watched it because I was just like, how many more of these movies can they remake? And how bad can they make the movie after what they've already made? Like the first Transformers was amazing. The second one wasn't that good. Third one started getting worse. And after that, I don't know who thought it was a good idea. Maybe Michael Bay was like, I'm just going to keep making these and shitting these out.
I think it's all relative because the way we look at Transformers movies and we think that they're shit, there's people that love them and go see them. That's why they keep making more of them.
Probably
Well,
true.
It's the same thing about superhero movies. There's people that look at them and say, oh, those are shit. But they keep making them because people like us like them, so we go see them.
Yeah. There's probably a big, huge fan base just like Star Wars or
I
Star
was
Trek.
gonna
with
say, I bet
Transformers.
these are huge in the China market. I bet.
Probably.
I bet you anything these are huge in the China
The problem
market.
with the Transformers, especially with this one, what I didn't like was like, and maybe it's like this with all of them. It's like when they do the action scenes, they're so fast, you don't get to see any of the real cool CGI shit.
Well, that's the one I know. My go-to making fun of Transformers is just like, it's a seizure factory. It's a bunch of bright lights going off, a bunch of explosions. It's like there is no dedication to any story whatsoever, really. At the end of the day, because it's like, look, at the end of the day, it's Transformers. It's what Decepticons versus Recepticons. I don't know. Fucking the good robots versus the bad robots, and they're just battling on Earth. Like I used
what the
to
good ones are
love Transformers Beast Wars when I was a kid. That
Yeah,
cartoon
that show
was
was
sick.
sick.
it was
Fuck.
cool, and I think that's why they did it. And like the
They
toy.
transformed into like dinosaurs and like tigers. And
Yeah, I used to have a lot of
there's
those.
the- I think
I
there's
used
a
to have a lot of
rat
those
one.
toys, and I used to love playing with my Transformer toys when I was a kid. But overall, I mean, they have a cool franchise. I think they just bombed it after of course Shia LaBeouf went crazy, and he didn't want to do the movies anymore, and they couldn't put any more hot women in it because every time they changed. But I just don't.
Because Harvey kept touching him. He was cycling through. He's like, all right, your careers are ruined. Bring me the next one.
I just was. I
Like
think
Jabba the
expectations
Hutt,
were set so
pulling the
high
chain.
after. Yeah. Yeah, it would have been good. It was just. I think the expectations were set so high for these movies, in my opinion, that I wanted a good backstory with it, which just didn't happen. So I think that's why I was so upset after like the third one. I was like, I'm just done with these movies. I can't deal with it anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen a Transformers. Probably the last one I saw was the second one. I don't even think I saw the third one. The fourth one was the dinosaur one, right?
The dinosaur one, yeah. That's when I was completely just
I
done.
gave up on it.
And the only reason I watched it because I just wanted to see what was it all about. Because I've seen it's like when Fast and the Furious keeps making a movie and they're in that number 7. You're like, shit, I just gotta watch it to see how if it got any better or worse or what direction. Like, because that whole series, and I don't know why I'm going down here, but it like went from we're gonna race cars to now that we're super action heroes and we don't race cars anymore, but we do race cars. Like, I love the original Fast and Furious, but when they went away from actually racing cars and just being like thugs or whatever they did, or just whatever they're doing, I stopped watching them.
No, I'll always love the scene where they're pulling up perfectly and parking their cars like one after the other, perfectly slanted in the first movie. I know, it sounds like I'm making fun of it, but I remember being a kid and seeing that. It's like, oh, that's so cool. Look at all those cool cars.
It was
The
a cool movie.
Ford Lightning.
For
I
its
didn't know
time.
shit about cars, but it'd be
Yeah,
like
like
Ford Lightning.
Like an intro into the drag racing scene. Like,
Yeah,
it was cool. at
It was the
time.
first thing into like cars being modded and stuff, and like having a foreign car and doing all the modifications on it.
I never wanted to drink a Corona before until I saw
Hector.
no, big shit. What's his name? Why? Groot.
Vin Diesel?
Vin Diesel?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, man. All of them, the whole gang, dude. They just glamorized Corona for me. It was like I want to steal cars and drink Corona. Fucking. But no, I remember growing up. I loved Gone with 60 Seconds.
Oh, that was a great movie.
Sorry to go off on a tangent here, but it's like, yeah, that's one. That's another one that was just like it was weird because it's like I'm not a big car person, but goddamn it, I love that movie. Same thing with Fast and Furious. So I'm not a big car person. I love the first movies up until Tokyo Drift. I just kind of
I think a lot of people felt that way.
I dropped off and I just stopped paying attention. And even if there are good quality movies after that one, it's already gone to me. I'm not gonna.
I mean,
I think what I liked about Gone 60 Seconds the most was it felt more like a heist movie than like a racing movie.
Yeah,
it was.
because they're boosting cars. It was
Yeah.
like all different situations for stealing cars.
yeah, it
Now
was.
that you put it like that,
It
it was
was.
less about the cars and more about the scenarios in which they were stealing them.
Yeah.
Like you remember when they were in the suburbs and they had the clicker,
Yeah.
and they stole the SUV
Yeah.
from that person's house
Yeah, I mean
during
the
that
movie's
pool
the
party.
movie's a classic, and just
I-
like the original Fast and Furious are.
When that black dude, he's like playing with that little doll in front of the security guard. He's like, she's a brick.
Yeah,
To distract them so they can get the cars out. Yeah, that was good.
lowrider Donnie, lowrider.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, that
Alright,
was really
let's
good.
go.
So yeah, go back on track what we're talking about. Transformers. It was. That could have been my number
This
one.
could
but-
this could be in my worst movies of every year.
yeah. So
Just say,
So-
let's get it on the books now.
so-
There's going to be a space for Transformers every year.
yeah.
For
So
the top five
number
worst.
2, I know you guys would agree with this on me, but number 2 of the year, and I did see half of this movie. Just one of those movies again. I wanted to watch to see how it was Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales. Let's get it out here. It's like they just made a movie to make a movie, which then put Johnny Depp's face on it from Disney, and to think it was
Was
going
he
to
in
make a
it?
movie. Yeah,
He was?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't think he was in it.
And I'm pretty sure he was in it. I'm gonna look that up again. I'm pretty damn sure.
I thought they had a different male lead this time.
Then who?
Johnny Depp.
Oh, I think Johnny Depp was still in it,
Was
but they had
Oh, yeah,
a
they didn't have, what's
younger.
his name? Will.
They didn't have Will. They had Will's son.
Yeah, he's in it. So
Wilson.
yeah, Johnny Depp's in it. I was almost sure. I thought.
Of course, Johnny Depp was in it, dude.
Yeah.
He needs
say.
money.
He needs money
He
like
needs
anybody.
money bad.
But
dude.
anyway, the
Look,
the
he
movie
came around.
the
I'd
movie
have to,
was a
like,
bomb.
He probably has to bum a couple bucks.
I mean, for for how good the original Pirates did to this movie, I mean,
Which, you know what the travesty here is? Javier Bardem plays such a good bad guy. Holy
Yeah.
shit! And even in the trailer of this, where he's like slinking through the cell bars, it's like, no, it's like what a badass bad guy, you know. Even though I think I started watching this movie and I fell asleep so I can't really speak to it completely, but I will say that if this is on your top 5 worst, the travesty in my mind is just Harvey his skills were wasted.
It looks like
this.
Orlando Bloom. He was in the movie. If I remember, says he's in the movie. Makes appearance as Will Turner. But overall, I think it's just more of a letdown because they were such good movies. And I think after about the third one, I was kind of like,
you know what? I've enjoyed these. I remember going to see either the first or second one in the mall with my mom. I think it was like awkward teenage years. I was already past the point of a kid, so. But like we still I guess we were just bored one day. We were just like, let's go see it. And it was just like such a good like action adventure movie, and I love the world they created with the pirates and shit. It was just like
Felt authentic.
It was like the attention to detail they put into these pirate movies. The early ones. I don't want to speak to the later ones, but the early ones, dude, I just enjoyed the shit out of.
So, I mean, we don't have to talk about it too much because I just feel like it's one of those movies I think most people were pretty upset about. Maybe not. Maybe little kids and people that, that are really still in the
But
pirates.
I mean, yeah, they're the target demographic now. I'm sure that they'll spoon this up, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't total like dumpster fire, like some in my opinion, Justice League or something like that, or War. I don't know. I just feel like it could. Yeah. So we'll leave this one alone, and pretty much we're gonna go to number one.
Let's just get to it.
The worst movie of the year of 2017. I think we could all agree on it.
Just say it out loud.
Was the Dark Tower?
Good God!
And I think I could talk about this movie for fucking.
I think we all could
for like an hour, but the movie as itself was such one of those movies where I feel like we could have hyped up and been such a good movie that could have led off to so many good things, especially because all the stuff you told us. About it with all the books and stuff. Do you feel like this would be one of those ones they would have won a nail? And after watching the movie, like when Matthew McConaughey started shooting bullets out of his hands, like I literally wanted to get up and just walk out of the movie theater.
Well, okay, I've read the whole series, which is a thick series, and it gets pretty meta and wild the more you go on, but there were just so many fantastic little adventure tales in the in Roland's world, in the waste that you get a glimpse of in this, and the fact that they just absolutely butchered this, that an insult to injury is just like, nowadays, like any Star Wars Marvel movie, you're hitting 2 hours. This movie didn't even hit 2 hours. It was so goddamn rushed. But from what I heard, this has been stuck in development hell for years. They've been trying. There's a point they were talking to Ron Howard about directing, and it was just like, and going back and forth between, we're going to start with a movie and then do an HBO series and then do a movie and then continue the HBO series. So like, this has been thrown around about how to approach this for a long time. I think eventually everybody maybe just got tired of throwing it around, and somebody was finally like, all right, I'll put the piece of shit together. And this also suffered from studio interference as well, I believe.
I think
that there's producers coming in and being like, no, change this, change that, and like it was butchered. And every Hollywood horror story there is with movies, I think this experienced a little bit of that.
Yeah, I haven't read the series, so I can't speak to that. But if it is long and as thorough or as in depth as you're saying, like they should have just made it a series. They shouldn't have tried to force it into a 2 hour movie.
They should have Harry Pottered this shit. Honestly,
I agree.
They should have been an adult Harry Potter. And they just
because how they like can transport to different places. Like they could have made it so crazy. Like it could have been like Harry Potter. It could have been like each movie is like its own different.
It's the main character. What's his name? Idris Elba, whatever it is.
Idris.
Whatever. I love him as an actor. I think he's a phenomenal actor, and I think he probably played this role. Could have played it.
That kid actor was shit.
The kid actor was fucking
atrocious.
Kid actors take me out of movies so easily. That's why it was phenomenal, because all the kid actors were
pull
amazing.
it off.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, overall, because I don't know the whole Dark Tower backstory until after the movie, after I read about it, and I was so like, wow, this could have been such a good movie after you telling us you read the books. It sucks because now everybody's got this bad taste in their mouth, and it's like, are they going to reboot this or they're not? I mean, I heard they're going to make a TV show this year called The Dark Tower, and I'm like, holy shit, if they're really thinking they're going to do a TV show, I hope they do a good job, because if it's going to be anything like this dumpster fire, then no one's going to be watching it.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, man. I had a bad feeling going into it. It was going to be bad, but just being a fan, like I'm a huge Stephen King fan, let alone a Dark Tower fan. So it was like there was like an obligation for me to see this. I was going to see this no matter what, and but no, I just had a bad feeling it was going to be shit. And I mean, my just worst fears came to life. It was shit. It was absolute shit. It was just way shittier than I ever could have.
The dialogue was
imagined.
bad.
The dialogue was terrible.
It was just bad.
I mean,
I did like
graphics. Okay, like
I can't even remember most of it. I just remember like them being in the woods at one point.
the woods. The only thing I thought was cool was the whole Easter egg where they put it's carnival stuff inside the woods, because most people that know with Stephen King and the whole Dark Tower
But
stuff.
it's like that's a great that right there, that's great imagery for like the whole goddamn thing. Is like they just glossed the surface of so much stuff, and it was just like like for them to like, and that, because to me that was like lip service. It was all all it said was fucking Pennywise on it.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
It was
but there
throwaway.
was so much depth they could have gotten into that they just completely ignored for bullshit, or that bullshit scene where they were fighting that invisible lizard or whatever. Or like there's just
I
so
totally
much
forgot about
wasted
that.
time, or how fast even. You want to talk about terrible character development, is you get a glimpse of Roland with, I guess, his dad.
His
Yeah.
dad,
And
the
it's
original
like,
one, I guess.
they literally like have a whole book dedicated to his backstory and about Iliad. I think that's, or well, I forgot where the land that Roland comes from, where the gunslingers come from, but it's like they have a whole goddamn book dedicated to talking about the history of the gunslingers. And it's like, you had started the movie off with a 2-minute scene where you got just two black guys just shooting guns, talking about the faces of their fathers, which makes no fucking sense to anybody, and unless you read the books. Like that shit just doesn't make sense.
No, I agree. I mean, I really didn't know anything about the entire movie until I read it after the fact, because I was like, what is going on half the time? Like, I thought the gunslinger thing sounded really cool, and I was like, man, the backstory of this guy actually sounds really cool if they actually would get into it, but they didn't. All they did was show some kid that I had no idea what was going on. He ended up in the Dark Tower world, and before you know it, he just ran into a gunslinger, and then they just started off from there, right? I don't really know why that happened that way, and I think that was some of the point of why the storyline was so shit, because of that right there. They could have probably went in the backstory and said where these guys came from and blah, 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 but I don't think they wanted to do that.
And I just hated that ending too. Like, oh, we're off to our next adventure in Dark Tower Land. Like they were like Jake was his sidekick now or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, what kooky things are we gonna get into next in this crazy world?
Forget school, kid. You're coming with me.
Right.
Right.
And it was like, it's just so bad.
Well,
it was so
here's
bad
the-
in so many ways.
Here's another thing I thought. Matthew McConaughey is not a villain. Let's get real. Okay, I don't see him as a villain.
He's got dramatic chops. What was the TV show where on HBO, True Detective?
Oh, True Detective,
He
yeah.
can play some serious fucking roles, but I would agree in this capacity. Like, I'm trying to think of another movie where he played a villain, and I just can't. But I know he's got dramatic chops.
He does. I just
But
don't-
yeah, dude, like him being the villain was a fucking joke. It was an absolute joke.
I mean, it was really comic. It was more comical than it was actually, good.
I like the style of him. Like, he was just like in a black suit. He was just like, he looked like a badass, but it's just like, as far as the powers and like the dialogue, it just felt cheesy. It's just
Yeah,
like, you don't feel like
it
a
was
badass
very
to me.
cheesy.
You look like one, but you don't feel like one.
The only thing cool that I took out of this whole Dark Tower thing, which I think I don't know if a lot of people know, and I'm sure we've all talked about it, know, is that the Netflix series that's coming out with this from Stephen King that gets into the Dark Tower, and maybe this is the TV show we're talking about, maybe they're talking about, is how it kind of bleeds in with Pennywise and the Gunslingers and all the other type of Stephen King series that goes around, and they all tie in with each other to back to the Dark Tower. So hopefully that's really good. I'm assuming it's going to be good because I've heard a lot of good reviews of what's going on. A lot of good actors going to be in it. So
It's probably a good thing I haven't read the books, because it probably would have just made me even more mad seeing
me
it.
too.
No, it does, and I haven't read them in years, so like I've forgotten parts of it. But it's just like I think back to the cool parts I do remember, and it was just like all I wanted to do was see this on screen.
It's like if they tried to take the first 3 Lord of the Rings and shove it into one movie, like one 2-hour movie.
Right?
It's like it probably even more expansive than the 3 Lord of the Rings movies. It's
Or
just-
it was like
felt
the
way too much.
opposite of what Peter Jackson did to The Hobbit, where it's like he took one book and turned it into 3 movies, and it would have
Yeah.
been fine as one movie. But no, he needed a 30 half-hour scene of fighting orcs in barrels going down the river. So
He's wanted to make
he's
another
a
Michael Bay
creative
movie.
genius, let me tell you.
The
Peter
behind
Jackson.
the scenes on that is hilarious. On the third Hobbit, how they're just like they don't even know what the hell they're doing. Like Peter Jackson just like shaking his head in the corner, and everyone on set's like, "Yeah, we just recorded like 8 hours of these guys in the second unit, but apparently it's all for nothing, or like nobody knows what they're doing."
Oh shit.
So, I mean,
How long have we been going?
Yeah, hey man, we're probably
so I think that pretty much sums up the top 10 best movies of 2017, the top 5 worst movies of 2017. I hope you guys enjoyed our podcast. This is our first one we're doing of 2018. If you guys had any questions or comments, please leave them below. And we'll be getting back to doing another one. Hopefully, I think within the next week or two, we're going to do one about the top 10 best TV shows and worst TV shows of 2017. If there's any ones you guys would like us to review or put on there you think that would be good, please leave us a comment on that. And thanks for listening.